Hey everybody, it is Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Thanks for stopping by the channel and checking out this latest Nitro take. And going back to the early days of the channel, one of the more vocal fan bases on all my videos has been that of the Impact Wrestling fans, whether they were known as Total Nonstop, the Action Wrestling, or Impact Wrestling past few years and that stuff. I've always seemed to have put up a video and you guys, either positive or negative, have responded in great droves. So here's another one of those to follow along that line. Impact held their Slammiversary pay-per-view this past weekend on Saturday, July 18th, 2020, from the Skyway Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, which has kind of been their hub during the COVID-19 outbreak. They did the show in front of no fans, only I guess the pay-per-view closed-circuit audience was their fan base. So this is my take on the events of the evening and how each of the matches came down. I was actually really looking forward to this pay-per-view, and I will say this up front. This was the better of the two pay-per-views that ended up occurring over this weekend. We'll get to Extreme Rules in another video later on this week, but definitely for sure that Impact Slammiversary held its own, and this was the better of the two shows. I thought that the quality was top-notch from top to bottom here, and my final rating at the end of this video will hopefully show that in a new light. So I love the angle that Impact's creative has been taking over the past few months, saying that, hey, all these huge stars have hit the market, and some of them have signed with Impact that are WWE cast-offs from the COVID cuts from earlier this year, and so on and so forth. It's great creative by Scott D'Amore and Don Callis on that bit. These bits were amazing, and we saw a continuation of it in the opening video, opening with the breaking announcement that the Good Brothers, yes, that's right, Big LG, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson have signed a contract which makes them a part of Impact Wrestling with the option to wrestle New Japan dates as well. He says, but there is another, and we'll find out who that is tonight. And I dug this creative for sure. So by the end of the show, we'll find out another huge name, well, at least one, that is signed with Impact Wrestling going forward. So the Rascals Open Challenge was the opening contest of the pay-per-view that I seen. Didn't bother watching the pre-show at all. Just jumped right into the main show. We got Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz making the Open Challenge a few weeks back to any team past or present in Impact Wrestling history or around the world, basically, to come to Slammiversary to take them on one-on-one. Who is it? Well, it's the Motor City Machine Guns. That's right. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are back in Impact Wrestling. Nice swerve, as I thought we would see the Good Brothers here in kind of a squash match. Maybe get them in on their first action on a pay-per-view and kind of kick things off, kind of setting the tone for the night. But this also sets the tone for the night as well. It's an Impact pay-per-view, so there's going to be production botches galore. It was the audio board, for whatever reason this time, that had issues. The show already feels like a hard reset for Impact. Good for them after, again, another turbulent 6 months or whatever it's been, culminating with Tessa Blanchard finally walking out of the company and being stripped of the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. That's vacant, and that's on the line in the main event later on in the card. Haven't seen Sabin or Shelley in a while. Both guys look crisp here. Camera angles always seem to make Impact's ring look small, but I know that's not true. I think that's just the way they shoot the ring, and maybe it's just the venues that they book for shooting content and shooting shows. But it always seems like they're wrestling in a smaller ring. But I know that's not the case. I think it's a standard size ring. It's not a WWE size ring, but I think it's probably, your standard, ECW, WCW size ring from the 90s, because that's what the majority of your booking staff and, the higher-ups grew up with. Anyways, I thought that this was a super back-and-forth match. Sabin hasn't aged. He's got himself a better haircut now, which is awesome. And the final fall happens at 14-17 with the Motor City Machine Guns getting the win over the Rascals in a great opening bout. This was a solid 15-minute affair. Incredible opener. Great music for the Machine Guns as well. I can't remember if that's what they were using before in Impact, because it was waited a long time ago, and I've kind of been in and out of their product over the past, well, decade and a half, basically. Yeah, no, a great comeback for them for sure. Josh Matthews froze to a feature that doesn't run, and then it runs. Impact production. How I've missed the features on Moose, the self-proclaimed TNA World Champion. Since when is Crazy Steve a TNA original? I guess because the majority of the Impact / TNA talent, top flight talent, has moved on to other promotions now. Now that you're kind of picking the bones of the mid card from about 5 or 6 years ago and bringing them in now. This is good to see him in a video package for sure. But Moose basically has been beating up on longtime company stalwarts with his belt, and basically proclaimed himself as the self-proclaimed TNA World Champion. Tommy Dreamer, of course, picks up the challenge. He can still cut a promo. We've seen this in the video package, and then goes on to our next contest for the total non-stop action TNA World Heavyweight Championship. You have Moose, the champion, the self-proclaimed champion, versus Tommy Dreamer. And yes, this is a self-proclaimed championship deal, just like Brian Cage and Taz in AEW with the FTW belt. And this is Heel Heat 101. One of the classic wrestling tropes is the champion that's not really a champion, but proclaims himself as champion and has a fake belt. And the TNA championship right now, because that promotion doesn't exist anymore, is a fake belt. Don't at me. I love the Terry Funk tribute gear by Dreamer. They've added O Fortuna to Moose's music. It kind of makes it more epic. Fought under old school rules, so no high spots. How old school are we going here with this, guys? Later found out during the match that it's ECW rules, essentially extreme rules. When Dreamer clocks Moose with the garbage can, Josh Matthews explains, hey, old school rules, it's hardcore rules, basically. So thank you for the clarification. Dreamer, though, turns the tides with the white Russian leg sweep nod to his buddy the Sandman. They show a replay of the spot, which shows nothing because there is a production botch, so you hear the audio, but you just see black. Anyways, we see a modified Uranagi into a pile of chairs and a moonsault by Moose for only 2. Moose then misses the moonsault off of the turnbuckle and the ropes. Dreamer hits him with a DDT, but only lands a 2 count. Dreamer then grabs a bag of thumbtacks, but Moose hits a low blow and almost sends Dreamer into the tacks. Dreamer, though, hulks up when Moose badmouths ECW and basically his past, but then Moose rakes the eyes and lands the lights out spear. 1, 2, 3. Moose is still the TNA World Heavyweight Champion and still one of their mid to upper card heels. Sure, we'll go with that. Next contest was the women's #1 contendership gauntlet. The winner of this kind of Royal Rumble-esque type match would end up taking on the winner of Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace for the Impact World, or the Impact Knockouts Championship, I should say, at a later date. So they would in turn be named the #1 contender for the Knockouts Championship. Tasha Steele, straight from the NWA, is the #1 entrant. I know she's been with Impact for a few months now and that stuff, but she'll always, to me, have cut her teeth and always be an NWA power girl for my, just association. And Kylie Ray, the #2 entrant, straight from AEW. I know, that's over a year ago and old news and so on and so forth, and we've moved on from that. But anyways, so again, if you've not seen a gauntlet match in Impact, it's kind of, again, a hybrid between the old school Royal Rumbles of the early 90s and a kind of new twist at the end of it. So Impact runs gauntlets under old school Rumbles, so 2 minutes between entrants, well, old school Rumble rules, I should say, until the final 2 are left, and then the ref slides in, and it's a normal one-on-one contest right after that. So the #3 entrant is Taya Valkyrie, but it's Johnny Bravo dressed up as Taya Valkyrie, but whoever that is quickly dispatched. Alright, so it's not a 15-woman Rumble, it's a 14-woman Rumble, 1-man Rumble at this point. Okay, cool. #4, Kimberly, good to see her, former Shimmer Tag Team Champion and such. Has just recently signed with Impact, so this, I think, was her first pay-per-view appearance with them. A definite journeyman wrestler, former Chikara Grand Champion, with that promotion ceasing a few weeks ago, I should say. RIP to them. Kiera Hogan, number 5. Hogan and Steels are homegirls, so they kind of work together as a unit. They're buds, they're sisters, they're buddies, so they'll work together as a unit in this match. And then Susie gets number 6. And then in recent weeks in Impact, Susie and Kylie Ray are buds and have been in tag matches, and that's been helping each other out. So it's a tag match basically at this point. Super kick by Kylie Ray at this point. Steels is eliminated, so Kylie Ray becomes the new Iron Woman, which would be the theme of the match at this point. Number 7 from Twerk City, Katie Forbes. All right. Rob Van Dam's main squeeze. All right. Number 8, Madison Rayne, Hall of Famer. My picture broke up a little bit here because of the satellite technicalities and whatever, but I was watching this just on traditional digital cable pay-per-view. But Rayne and Hogan get into it, and my picture came back in time, and the match came back in time for Jessica Havoc getting spots at number 9. Number 10 is Taya Valkyrie. So who did Bravo take out? I think nobody. I think that honestly they probably had 13 women lined up, and maybe they had 2 spots open for either legends or one-time only bookings, and they couldn't get any at this point. So that's probably what it was. Alicia Edwards in at 11. Kylie Ray approaching Iron Woman status at this point, 12 minutes in. Katie Forbes is gone. I didn't see how it happened, but she got eliminated. Nevaeh finally makes her Impact pay-per-view debut. Long deserved. Again, another Shimmer alum. Fits in with that Sami Callihan OVE crew. Kind of is into that, or in with that crew, because I think she's married to one of the Chris boys. I can't remember who. Yeah, this is a woman that has wrestled in Shimmer in the past, and I believe was one half of the first Shimmer Tag Team Champions with Madison Rayne, I believe, back when Madison was wrestling as Ashley Lane in Shimmer. And I think they held the Shimmer Tag Team titles for a while once they first won them way back when, in the late 2000s. And finally lost it. But she's been around for a few years and finally getting that mainstream appreciation now. It's good to see her with a larger company. Number 13, Rosemary comes in and she spears Susie. There's history there, of course. Going back to Ali, the Vampire Slayer, basically, and killing her off before she jumped over to AEW last year, and so on and so forth. So, number 14, Bravo comes out as Rosemary again, as Rosemary eliminates Susie, Valkyrie, and Rosemary. So Rosemary dumps out Susie and Taya Valkyrie at the same time, and Bravo comes in to try to help, but he ends up taking out Rosemary as well. So Havoc gets dumped by Bravo. Bravo then gets eliminated by Kylie Ray. This broke down. Madison Rayne is eliminated by Kylie Ray. Alicia Edwards and Nevaeh are dumped after they collide on an apron. That was actually a pretty good spot. Hogan gets dumped by Rosemary. So the final 4 ends up being Kylie Ray, Kimberly, Rosemary, and Taya Valkyrie. Rosemary dumped by Taya, so their friendship that loose friendship was fracturing a little bit. So Kylie and Taya go one-on-one for the number 1 contendership. It's an entertaining singles match for about 4 or 5 minutes, but a super kick by Kylie Ray and a 1-2-3 ends it, and Kylie Ray is your new number 1 contender, gets the winner of Perazo and Grace, and that will be fun to see. This was a very entertaining Rumble match, a very entertaining Gauntlet. Callis still thinks that Ray can't beat either woman at all. That doesn't matter who the champion is at the end of the night. Kylie Ray will not be able to defeat either Jordynne Grace or Deonna Purrazzo. So we'll see if that means creatively she does later on down the line, but that's how it was on Saturday. All of a sudden, while there's a dead spot and it looks like they're teeing up for another video package or something, Heath Slater? Yeah, that's right. Heath slides in under the ring ropes, and they're just referring to him as Heath right now. And he is teasing a match with Rhino for the tag team open challenge with the Rascals, but, says that, hey, that match has already happened. and the Motor City Machine Guns took the spot. So he says he's the 4th man for the main event, which all of a sudden jaw drop. It's like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. But Rohit hits the ring and says, nope, Rohit's the 4th man. He takes a stab at Slater's match with Drew McIntyre a few weeks back on Monday Night Raw, but Heath drops Rohit. So did Heath sign with Impact? Big get, if so, for the free agent. So, for him to exchange blows with a mid-card heel, I would think that it's pretty well, if not a done deal, it's close to it. And we'll be seeing Heath Slater, or Heath now, on Impact Wrestling a little bit more. X Division title up next, where we have Dashing Chris Bay take on the champion Willie Mack. Dashing Chris Bay from the Pacific Northwest scene, veteran of the Defy and WAC Wars. This is the first time for me seeing him, but I've seen a lot of his stuff, clips of his stuff online. Has been hanging around with Johnny Swinger in past weeks on Impact, but Johnny Swinger is banned from ringside here. Willie Mack's got the Razor Ramon tribute gear, looks awesome, and it still amazes me that somebody with Willie Mack's body type can pull off those high spots. Guy's a phenom. Chris Bay, now dubbed the Ultimate Finesser in Impact. Yes, the Ultimate Finesser. A hard-hitting encounter, an exploder suplex by Mack into the corner for 2. Art of Finesse by Bay and a 1-2-3. Bay is the new X Division champion. This is an impressive potential match of the night, and I thought it was great. The runtime for that one was 10 minutes, but it was a solid 10 minutes for sure. Just to catch up with some of the other runtimes, the quote-unquote TNA World Heavyweight Championship match between Moose and Tommy Dreamer was 11:18, and then the Gauntlet for the gold match to determine the number 1 contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship, won by Kylie Ray, 19:20. Up next, the North, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander taking on the oddball tag team of Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. These are the oddball challengers. I still want to see Ken Shamrock versus Minoru Suzuki. Hopefully that happens before both guys decide to hang up the wrestling boots for good, because they're both kind of getting up there in age, but they can still go a little bit, which is pretty awesome. The match starts and there's a Callahan buster, but that's a 2 count for Sammy. Shamrock still looks great in there, and I think he seems to look better each time out that I see him. It's almost as if the ring rust is starting to knock off of him, and he's wrestling more and more frequently with Impact. So good on him. Ankle lock attempt on Ethan Page. Alexander, though, grabs Callahan and throws an ankle lock on him, so double ankle locks at one point in this match. A super butterfly suplex by Shamrock only lands a 2 count. Then a dive to the outside. It kind of gets nobody at all, and Shamrock just kind of limp fishes right down onto to the mat. He's a stunt dummy at times, I tell you. Allows the North to hit their finish. 1-2-3 on Shamrock, and Page and Alexander retain the championship. Post-match, Page has the mic, says no team has better chemistry and that they are the greatest team in Impact history, but the Motor City Machine Guns return, say that they are the flagship, and they say that this Tuesday, which I'm ironically recording, but you'll see this after, so I haven't had a chance to watch Impact at all this week to see what happens or whatever. But one of the big matches this Tuesday on Impact, Motor City Machine Guns versus the North for the Tag Team Championship, so that long title reign could be in jeopardy. Gia Miller tries to get a word in backstage with the Good Brothers, but finds in the locker room Rich Swann. Rich Swann is in the building. He declares himself for a Impact title match once he is cleared, so everybody's thinking, hey, cool. So once Swann's leg injury is healed up, he'll be ready to go again, and he'll get a crack at whoever the winner of this Fatal 4-Way is later tonight, or so we think at this time. Impact Knockouts title was up next. Deonna Purrazzo versus Jordynne Grace, and Purrazzo letting the Virtuosa gimmick go full heel here. Callis said she did her time in the Stanford Supermax. Ouch. Wow. Anyway, this is Purrazzo's biggest match to date for sure. I would say this is even bigger than the matches she had on Monday Night Raw a few months back. I think that when were those? The fall of 2019, I believe it was. When she came in and she did job duty, I think against Charlotte a couple of times on Raw, or Becky a couple of times on Raw. I can't remember which. But Yeah, this is a huge match for sure because, this is a huge push for her since entering the company. She hits the armbar, but Grace counters, tries to lock in a cross arm breaker with no dice. But the finish of the match, Purrazzo finally eventually hits that Fujiwara armbar finisher that she makes look so good in the ring and gets the submission for the championship. Purrazzo is the new Knockouts champion in the runtime of 15-12. So yeah, this match here I would put down as a match of the night. It was really, I would put this as a tie between this one and the X Division title match here, because I thought that the girls brought it in this match. I thought Grace looked awesome, and I've definitely liked Purrazzo in this role now as the heel champion, the heel aristocratic champion in Impact. So, kudos to both of them. This was awesome. We did head to the main event, but not before Bound for Glory announced on October 24th on pay-per-view. No location selected yet because of the coronavirus uncertainty or anything. The Impact World Championship. So we had Ace Austin, Trey from the Rascals, Eddie Edwards, and question marks for the fourth man in this Fatal 4-Way. So who is the fourth man? Austin will have Madman Fulton in his corner as the OVE kind of split / cancellation, if you will, has put Madman Fulton as basically hired muscle for Ace Austin. Think Shawn and Diesel here from the mid-90s. Rich Swann is the fourth man. The ankle is fine. Welcome back after Trey and Eddie Edwards get their introduction. So he is the fourth man. Solid to go with your youth core here. Very interesting. And then all of a sudden we hear Eric Young's music, and Eric walks out with a Gary Cheever's goalie mask, for all things. It was kind of weird. It's this random Boston Bruins reference on this pay-per-view. And he grabs a mic, says it's a 5-way. He won his world title at Slammiversary. That's true, back in 2014, but it's a 5-way. And Trey and Ace square off on the outside after the opening bell. And Trey and Swann had an awesome sequence as well very early on. Fulton gets bounced early after interfering with Edwards as Edwards tries to go for a tope but gets caught by Fulton, and Fulton hits him with a power move on the outside. Fulton then just, is bounced from ringside, so then it's just a pure 5-way. Eric Young gets busted open via a Trey kick. I think this was more hard way than anything else because it caught him on the eyebrow and just split him open. So Credo pile driver by Trey by Eric Young, and Trey is gone. Swann catches Young and pins him with a small package, but goes to work on Swann's ankle afterwards. So Swann eliminates Eric Young. Eric Young goes to the outside, rolls out, grabs a chair, and starts attacking Rich Swann. And then goes to work on Swann's ankle by basically Pillmanizing his ankle and his leg. And, he's still in it, but he's a sitting and hurt duck. Swann, though, he's fighting back with the hurt leg against Ace Austin. Ace hits the fold, 1-2-3, and Swann is eliminated. So a valiant comeback effort, and of course that'll be the storyline going forward, is how hurt is Rich Swann coming back after this one. It is down to Ace Austin and Eddie Edwards left, which I kind of figured looking at this going into this pay-per-view, that with those guys still kind of in on this triple threat thing, and then they announcing a mystery person, a comeback, a re-signing or a big name for that fourth spot, which ended up being, Rich Swann, and then becoming a 5-way again, which was the initial pay-per-view main event here, with Eric Young jumping in. That, you looked at it, and Ace Austin and Eddie Edwards were probably going to be the most realistic guys fighting for the championship here. Boston Knee Party for 2. Austin hits the fold, only gets a 2 count. Eddie hits the Die Hard, and 1-2-3. Eddie Edwards is the world champ. Post-match, though, Madman Fulton re-enters ringside and attacks Eddie, and then all of a sudden, Gallows and Anderson's music hit, and they have hit the ring. They are in the building, the Good Brothers, the big acquisition for Impact. Suckers Austin and Fulton for a gun stun and a magic killer for the end of the show. And then, as we're going off the air and Eddie's hands are raised, all of a sudden a video plays with EC3, and we fade to black. If that's a reboot, that's a hell of a reboot. My rating for the entire show for Impact Slammiversary 2020, and I've said this before on this channel, and God, I hope this is right this time, because it just felt right, this entire pay-per-view. a solid reboot. This is what this promotion needs. It feels like it's in an upswing. It was the better pay-per-view of the two this weekend, an 8.5 out of 10, and a phenomenal show. Now, please do not let this thing erode to the point where Bound for Glory is an unwatchable mess like it has been in the past. Oh, man. Anyways, Impact, what are you going to do? But anyways, later days, happy wrestling watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Kellen Nitro. Like, subscribe, share the video and that stuff. And check out my other property too, tinyurl.com/drag files for all your high performance automotive needs and drag racing highlights and videos and such. I have a great time over there as well. So if you dig cars, go over there. And if you dig wrestling, hey, stick with me. It's cool. All right, folks. See you next time.